It's hard to believe that it's been 8 months since I bought this Bronco. And over that period of time, I've put over 9,000 miles on it. I've had it on some awesome adventures. I've pushed it pretty hard out on the trails, and I've just gotten to know some of the things I like and some of the things I'm a little critical about the Bronco. But I haven't done a whole lot of upgrades, just a few little things here and there. There's no suspension, there's no big tires, no bumpers. I mean, this is the Badlands edition. It's pretty capable as it sits. And I just wanted to get a feel for that before I started modifying it. Well, the time for keeping it stock is over. It's time to start making this thing perform better, look better, and today we're gonna make it sound better. Welcome TrailRecon, I'm Brad, and today I'm going to be installing a new exhaust system in the Ford Bronco. I love the rumble and the burble of a good combustion engine, and while all these new electric vehicles today are really cool and I love the technology, they just don't have the same heartbeat as an internal combustion engine, and well, we're going to make this Bronco's heartbeat a little bit stronger today. Now, before we get into that, I just want to bring you up to speed on some of the small upgrades that I've done over the last 8 months because I haven't talked about all of them. So first, there are some KC Highlight FlexAir 3s on the A-pillar. I installed a GMRS radio inside with a hood-mounted antenna. Inside, there is a video camera rearview mirror from EchoMaster. It also has a dash cam that's constantly recording. I really like that. In the back, there is the goose gear system, which allows me to install or remove my fridge slider. There's also the Outback Adventure tailgate table back there, which is super functional. And there is the 67 Designs phone mount with the rail system. And all those upgrades are very functional, but now we're gonna start getting into the meat and potatoes of some of the stuff that I wanna do to the Bronco, starting with adding a new exhaust system. And the one we're installing today is gonna, 1, reduce a little bit of weight, 2, give us a little bit of a performance gain, 3, we're gonna have some added clearance in the rear, and most importantly, we're gonna get a little bit better sound. All right, let's get this old one off, and then I will show you the new one. Now, I've done a couple exhaust system upgrades before in the past, and it usually goes pretty easy. And I did get underneath the Bronco, and it looks like everything is very accessible. So this should go pretty well, knock on wood. Okay, so just a couple tools that we're gonna need. One is this exhaust hanger removal tool. It's probably called something else, but that's what I call it. A pry bar. We're gonna want a 15mm socket, and I think probably an extension, and a little bit of penetrating oil. That should be all we need, hopefully. You know, I spent a lot of time on this creeper on my back on the floor underneath my vehicles, and you know, it's kind of my dream someday to have a bigger shop with a lift where I can kind of stand up and do some of this work, but that's a dream someday. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the muffler off, and there are 2 exhaust hangers and then 1 clamp, and then probably just have to manhandle it a little bit. So I'm just going to put a little lube on the hangers, and then we'll use our handy dandy tool. Oh, look at that. That's why you have the tool. Look how easy that was. I don't remember what I paid for this tool, but it was worth every penny. Bam, look at that. Okay, with the hangers off, that clamp off, now it's just a matter of manhandling this guy. And this is where a lift would be really nice because I got very little leverage. Come on. Come on, baby. I can feel you coming. There it is. Gotcha. Whew. All right, so Regina just peeked her head in the garage and she's like, what are you doing in there? Giving birth or something? And I was like, well, yeah, removing the exhaust is kind of like that. She's like, oh, no, it's not. It's nothing like giving birth. And I was like, yeah, I walked right into that one. Okay, so I am installing a catback system, which means we need to remove the pipe that goes all the way back to the catalytic converter. And so there's 2 more hangers and then a couple bolts, and then we'll get this pipe out and then open the box and check out the new one. Okay, first challenge. These bolts are a little stubborn. So I had to break out the breaker bar, and I was able to get this one loose, but this one started to slip. And so now I got to be careful because I do not want to strip that bolt. So I'm just going to take my time here for a minute. It's been a long time since I stripped out a bolt. I can't remember the last time I did it. Hopefully I can get this guy. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Be nice to me. Come on. There it is. Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's see if we can pry this hanger out of here. Okay, got it. That was easy. Hangers are easy. The bolts were giving me a hard time. One more hanger. We'll get this thing out. There it is. All right. Hard part's over. Let's go check out the new stuff. All right, there is the old exhaust we just pulled off of the Bronco. I guess it's not that old. It's only 8 months old. But here is the new Magnaflow Overland exhaust system that I'm going to be installing on the Bronco. This is a very nice piece of kit, and you can just tell the difference in the mufflers. It's much slimmer, it's much more low profile, it's going to save us some weight, but it's also got some really cool technology here that I want to talk about for a minute. All right, now I've put the muffler here on the table because there's some really cool things I want to talk about. We have options about how aggressive we want this Magnaflow exhaust to sound. Now, I mentioned this is the Magnaflow Overland kit, and they are a local company to me. They're actually 20 minutes from my house, and I've been using Magnaflow for years. I put them on Mustangs and some other hot rods. We installed one on the XJ several years ago. I've got it on the 392 and love how it sounds, and so I gave them a call and said, hey, can we hook up the Overland kit for the Bronco? And they did send this out to me. Now, there are some cool things here that are very unique to this system. So this is your standard tip right here, but right here is an outlet that allows us to modify the sound and how much drone. Now, I want to give this Bronco as much heartbeat as possible, and so what I'm going to do is just use this cap and put that on there right there, and that should give me the most aggressive sound. But if I decide later on, you know, it's too aggressive or I want a little less drone, then we can use this NDT, no drone technology. And so this you can put over here, and that's going to give us a little less drone like that. And if I want an even quieter sound, then what I can do is install this J-pipe with that NDT and then put it on there like that. The cool thing is I can mix and match to get the right sound that I want, and I don't have to remove the entire system to do that. There's just a couple clamps holding this all on, which is going to be very nice to maybe kind of play around with. But for now, I'm just going to go with the most aggressive one. Now, before I removed the stock exhaust, I did do some sound testing with it, and so once we get this installed, we'll do a little bit of compare and contrast and see what the difference is. All right, let's get this guy installed. All right, the install, we're just going to do everything in reverse, starting with the flange section, which is going to be bolted up. Now, before I bolt this up, I want to see if I have a nut. So I'm not using the same one that I started to kind of round off. It's not completely stripped, but it's not a healthy nut. And so for years and years, I have been saving nuts and bolts and screws and washers. Anytime I do a modification or I get rid of an old part, I take everything I can off there and put them in these bins. And I think I actually have a couple of these very same exact nuts. So that right there just saved me a trip to the hardware store. Okay, so I have just loosely installed the first 3 sections. So the flange section, the center section, and then the over the axle section. And I've just left the clamps loose for now. What I will do is I'll eventually tighten those up, but I'll make sure that they're not hanging down, so it's nice and smooth and tucked away. And I will just say the first rubber hanger was a little bit of a challenge. Lots of lubrication and a little bit of muscle. I don't have a tool to install them. Taking them off was sure a lot easier.
As I was connecting all the exhaust pipes and muffler together, I left the flange bolts and all the clamps loose to allow some flexibility in getting everything to fit just right. Once everything was assembled, I then began tightening the flange bolts and the clamps, working my way from the front to the rear.
All right, installation is complete. Everything is buttoned up and tightened up, and man, we gained a lot of clearance. Everything is above the frame rails, including the exhaust tip, so we are not going to be banging this up on the rocks. Now, before I let you hear what this sounds like, and then we'll take it out for a test drive, here's what it sounded like and the decibel reading before we started.
One quick note before we get started. With the Bronco in the driveway in either park or neutral, it wouldn't allow me to rev above 4,000 RPM. So these decibel readings are not the true peak numbers, but you can still hear the difference.
All right, first test drive with the new exhaust system. Already, it sounds so much more throaty. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's the way it should sound. And that gives this whole new Bronco some new life. It's got a heartbeat now, I love it. And I'm cruising at 65, 1900 RPMs. And I'm not hearing any drone. I'm hearing wind noise from the soft top and from the tires, but I'm not hearing anything that's obnoxious. In fact, I'm just using that cap. I didn't use the J-pipe or the no drone technology cap, and I thought it was actually going to be louder than this. So I'm actually very surprised. I really like it. I think if you're looking for something quieter, you know, you can mix and match and get it much quieter, but man, I like the way this sounds. I'll probably keep it this way, but I'll report back in a couple weeks. I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out with me in the garage today. If you are in the market for an aftermarket exhaust, check out Magnaflow. They make them for just about every vehicle, and they're a great company. And I've got a lot more projects coming on the Bronco. So if you're interested in those, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss those videos. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. See you in the next video.